Let's talk about voodoo. I was born into voodoo, black magic. My maternal side is heavy on voodoo. My grandmother, my grandfather, both from different, same location, but obviously different bloodlines on my maternal side. Both of them heavy on voodoo. Grandmother was raised by her mother and her father. They were about 8 siblings. She's number 5. Father died when she was 8. Father was a spiritualist, one of my leading guides. Father was a spiritualist, a herbalist, a man of integrity, and a strong leader. My grandfather on the other side, don't know much about his dad. I know only about his mom. His mom was heavy on voodoo, and she necessarily didn't like people. So my family on my grandfather's side, not so nice people. They pretend a lot, they lie a lot, they are not very honest people. They're heavy on voodoo, jealousy, envy, hatred. There's a lot of hatred in their family that you really wouldn't know where it comes from, but we grew up in it, where they never supported each other. And even when my grandmother was going through financial problems at some point, the family never supported my grandmother, while my grandfather was nowhere to be found. He had disappeared into thin air. So after my great grandfather died on my grandmother's side, maternal side, my grandmother was left with one parent, which was her mom, sorry. Her mom comes from a family of voodoo. My great grandmother was from a family of voodoo. So according to the stories, is that my great grandfather used to hit my great grandmother because he was a spiritualist, so he would be able to see my great grandmother doing voodoo or doing voodoo stuff or whatever the case is, and they would constantly have a fight about it in the house. And my great grandfather would give my great grandmother a hiding for doing voodoo, which doesn't make any sense if you think about it. So the man is a spiritualist, does spiritual things in a clean way. The wife, on the other hand, does voodoo or practices voodoo behind the husband's back. They live in the same house. She cooks, he eats. At some point, he stops eating her food because he doesn't trust her, but it's his wife, the mother of his children. So, according to stories and according to generational stuff, is that my great grandmother plotted against her husband, formed alliances with other voodoo people, and they fought to get rid of my great grandfather, her husband, because he was a problem in whatever they were doing. Apparently, over years, they tried many times, but they couldn't get to him. Somehow, they sent a snake to bite my grandmother's baby brother, the one that comes after him. He recently just passed on, actually. And the snake bit him. So, unfortunately or fortunately, the father was a herbalist, so he was forced to actually help his son. And that's where the problem started, because the snake was actually sent to my great grandfather, but they could never get to him. So they used the child, and he didn't have a choice, because if he didn't heal the child was going to die. So he helped the child, and then he died. Somehow, spiritual things. Don't really know the context of what happened. From that day on, spiritualism, or anything that has to do with ancestors and spirit guides, was banished on my maternal side, on my grandmother's side. Nothing could ever be spoken about. So spirituality was a file that was locked away in a box, in a safe, in a deserted room where no one is allowed to go into that room. And everyone from that time on, after my grandfather passed away, changed their belief systems, and they went to ZCC Church. 1940 something. Can't really remember what the year, but he passed away on in 1946, I think. 46, 43. And from that time on, no one ever became spiritual in my family, on my maternal side. My grandfather's side, on the other hand, not much spiritualism there. They were just voodoo people. They went to normal churches. I think it's called NG Kerk, but they never attended. My grandfather was not an attendee at the church. I don't know my great-grandmother, great-grandparents. I don't know. I've never met them. The only person that I've met was my grandmother's mother, the voodoo girl, the one that killed her husband. That one I've met. I was 7 or 8. She was still alive. She passed on in 1998, 99. So she and her team of voodoo people messed up our whole family. Voodoo became at the ultimate worst. I promise you, I'm sure in my extended family we have close to about 500 people. About 300, maybe 400 of those people will tell you how bad it was growing up in this family. I had a conversation with my uncle the other day, and he also said the way they were raised was bad. It was a situation where they were not allowed to say anything. They were not allowed to question anything. They were oppressed. They were abused physically, emotionally, spiritually. Voodoo was, apparently, they saw my great grandmother one day dancing. The things that we hear, whether it's true or not, but he was dancing somewhere, and he was just telling them that he's gonna kill them all and all that stuff. So she was a good woman. I mean, if you didn't know her or you didn't know the other stuff, there was no obvious signs that she was doing voodoo, of course. But I don't think the stories are untrue, but that's what I know. Also, based on what I've seen growing up, that things happen. You hear things, you see things, you perceive things, you dream about things, things are revealed to you. We've seen things that we can't even articulate into words, so you can't actually question anything. Let's do a part 2.